How close are the current South Africa team, the world champions, and back-to-back world champions at that, how close are they to being regarded as the greatest team that we've ever seen? Certainly in the modern era, maybe ever. Because the benchmark for that is usually given as the 2015 All Blacks. So I thought, with this rivalry being rekindled again this weekend, and with us having to just wait for the game, this might help waste a little bit of time by starting this conversation. Because I said in a video the other day, the current Springbok team, the world champions, if they can go on and win rugby championships and win the vast majority of their games in between World Cups and not just be a great tournament team, which they have been for the last 5-6 years under Rassie Erasmus, if they can do that, they could be regarded alongside New Zealand's 2015 side. They have that. I wonder how much of a carrot that is dangling for them, whether that's a target that they're setting or whether they are just going to continue being a great tournament team and getting everything in place to just go and do the three-peat, which would make them great in their very own way. But interesting conversation to start. Let's get into it. I'm Tim, this is Egg Chasers. Thank you very much for watching. This is the last video I'm recording before I am flying to South Africa to go and watch this match in Johannesburg this weekend. So if you don't want to miss any of my travels in South Africa and all the action from in the grounds, around the grounds, and in the cities and towns around South Africa during this little festival of rugby we've got over the next couple of weeks, then hit subscribe in the channel, give the video a thumbs up as well. Do you know what I thought? The first place I should start, which should be just actually seeing where the current Springbok players rank compared to another of the South African teams, which is quite often regarded as the best Springbok team. That team between 2007-2009. So let's go through, and first, before we get into the New Zealand 2015 team, let's just assess the current Springbok side, or the recent World Champion side, against the World Champions of 2007, which was another incredible era for the Springboks. So I'm just going to go through this player by player, and yes, there are some players I've had to leave out of a 15. I've just picked a 15 which I think represents the two teams of this era. For example, Frans Steyn was playing inside centre for the money matches in the Rugby World Cup in 07 because Jean de Villiers got injured. Same goes with Malcolm Marx. Bongi and Banambi could have been there, but I've made a call, and let's have a little look because I'm going Os Durant at loosehead prop over the Spicy Plum. Actually, it's interesting, the little connection with Rassie Erasmus, isn't it? He was coach of the Cheetahs and managed to coax Os Durant back to playing rugby after he'd had 3 years out with injury, and got him back playing for the Cheetahs, and the rest is history. He played 80 minutes in a World Cup final in his last ever game. Incredible story. Os Durant is the loosehead prop. John Smith, incredible leader, wonderful player, kept Bismarck du Plessis out of the team, but going Malcolm Marx, the guy's an absolute freak. Tight head prop, CJ van der Linde, doesn't beat Frans Malherbe. I mean, these are all incredible players. There's no slight on anyone if I don't pick them. I'm just picking the one that I would go for as the joint option. And Bakkies Botha, I mean, scary player. Must have been horrible to play against. But the same goes for Eben Etzebeth, and he's got that enforcer quality and a load more skill and athleticism as well. So I go for Eben Etzebeth as the best to have ever done it in that green and gold jersey. And alongside Victor Matfield, that is just a dream lock combo, isn't it? Into the back row, and again, just like John Smith, incredible leader, but Siya Kolisi cannot edge out Scout Berger when you look at the two. And Juan Smith, he was so good in that 07 Rugby World Cup. And just like Pieter-Steph du Toit, Pieter-Steph du Toit moved from lock to the 7 jersey, and Juan Smith moved from the number 8 across to the flank, and it's there that they played their best rugby. Both incredible athletes. Pieter-Steph du Toit gets the nod. And at number 8, Dani Rousseau, he would be in my 23-man squad because he can cover the whole back 5 of the scrum. And I think he was in at number 8 in 07. PS Spies was like ill or injured. There was something, I can't remember. PS Spies missed the Rugby World Cup, didn't he? So Dani Rousseau was in, and what a great player. Dwayne Vermeulen, big bear of a man, he gets in. So when you look at the pack, 5 of the 2023 Springbok side get in ahead of the 07 vintage. Do you agree with that? Do you disagree? Let me know. Both brilliant teams, but so far it's just giving you a sense that the 2023 Springbok side, pretty good. Certainly as far as the forward pack goes, and well, yeah, potentially the best Springbok team we've ever seen. But let's get into the back line before we decide that. And Faf de Klerk would be the first person to say that he is an amazing player but cannot hold a candle to the absolute sheer genius of Fourie de Prieur, who is one of the best scrum halves I've ever seen. And I think it's apt to say that I've spoken a lot of words about how amazing Antoine Dupont is, and he is. Antoine Dupont is an incredible player, and it's relevant to mention that now because Dupont's maybe the best I've seen since Fourie de Prieur, because Fourie de Prieur, unlike most scrum halves for South Africa and most international teams, where the fly half is the main playmaker, he was the main playmaker, driving force, tactical genius for the box, and he was absolutely incredible. Butch James was great in that 07 World Cup finals. Handré Pollard, though, quite often people just focus on Handré Pollard's kicking. He's got so much more than that. A brilliant all-round player. He's the 10. And amazing as the butcher Kurt-Lee Arendse is, it's got to be Habana. And in the centre, this is such a tough call. De Allende, de Villiers, both big men, brilliant defensively, deceptively good in attack. De Allende has got such good skills and rugby IQ. They both have. I just nudged de Villiers for that one. Same goes with Jacques Fourie. He's very similar to Jesse Creel in the sense that he was brilliant defensively, but actually had a lot more than that. And Fourie was a big old guy. That centre pairing is pretty scary physically. It's got to be the scrum cap Power Ranger on the right wing over JP Peterson, Cheslin Colby. And at fullback, yeah, I could have put Villy Leroux in there. He was in there in 2019. But I think the reason I've gone for the 2023 vintage over the 2019 South Africa team is because that 2019 team, Rassie Erasmus even said, we weren't meant to win the World Cup yet. And it came too early in a way. We achieved our goal well ahead of time. It was all about building to 2023. Damien Philemza was the boy with the 15 jersey. But I'm going for Percy Montgomery. So as you can see, out of the back line, there are only 2 of the 2023 squad. Not to say any of them aren't great players. They are. Overall, though, you'd have, if you were looking at that, the overall, on balance, the pack of 2023 and the back line of 2007. That'll do. But now we've assessed that, let's combine them and see how they match up against the 2015 All Blacks to give us a sense of what might be the great team and how close or far is the current Springbok team away from true greatness. Certainly in being regarded as one of the greatest teams we've ever seen. Look at that. So many legendary names together there. 30 incredible rugby players. I'm going to do the same process again. South Africa combined 07 and 23 squad against New Zealand 2015. What happens here? Let's get into it. Again, your comments down below. And Lou said prop. I've edged Oz Durant. I mean, that's really hard actually. I have to. Just immovable object, incredible player. But Tony Woodcock, I think there's a strong argument he's the best Lou said New Zealand have ever produced. Incredible player. And he was injured in that 2015 Rugby World Cup. This is one of the things that I will say about that New Zealand side of this era. Well, certainly in the World Cups. In 2011, they just snuck over the line. In 2015, there was nobody anywhere near them. The rest of the world in 2015 was pretty rubbish. It was bobbins, generally. New Zealand were in a league of their own. But this is where the record between World Cups is so crucial when assessing how great this team were, because they just won 95% of their games between World Cups, as well as winning it when it really mattered to win the big trophies. Anyway, I've nudged Woodcock out for Oz Durant. Mealamu, over 100 tests, but Malcolm Marx every day of the week, twice on Sundays. And the same goes with Frans Malherbe over Owen Franks. Again, Owen Franks, 2 World Cups, a lot of caps. I thought he was outstanding as a player without being spectacular. So it's an all South Africa front row there. Maybe this 2015 New Zealand team don't quite have the aura that they did have. Maybe. Let's see how it goes. Let's get into the second row then. And those 4 locks right there, take any combination, I'm more than happy. Retallick, Whitelock, Etzebeth and Matfield. Incredible. I would nudge Retallick over into the 5 jersey, which he can play. He can do loose head lock. And Etzebeth and Retallick is as good as it gets. Berger and Kano, Dutoy, McCaw. Obviously, the South Africa have their 6 and 7 the other way round from the rest of the world. So it's Kano against Dutoy, Berger against McCaw. Again, any combination, I'm more than happy. They are incredible players, some of the greatest of all time. Dutoy and McCaw is what my flanks would look like. And they're very different players, Duane Vermeulen and Kieran Reid. I think with the fact you've got a fair bit of heft, guys like Malcolm Marks, Brodie Retallick and Eben Etzebeth, I think you can get away with the ball-playing skills of Kieran Reid, who was World Player of the Year 2013, absolutely amazing rugby player. And yeah, so look at that. 3 New Zealanders up against 5 South Africans, and 4 of that South African pack are the current team, are current players, which I think does give you a sense. We can talk about overall great teams. This is one of the best packs. The Springbok pack at the moment, one of the best packs, maybe the best pack of forwards we've ever seen. I think there's a really strong argument for that. How do the backs stack up? Fourie du Preez against Aaron Smith. That's as good as the Southern Hemisphere has been, probably ever. And Fourie du Preez gets the nod for me over Aaron Smith. Both incredible. Fly half. I mean, easy, right? Andre Pollard, amazing player. 2 World Cups to his name. Dan Carter, absolute legend. Maybe the greatest player we've ever seen. It's interesting, when you look at the New Zealand fly half roster and all the names, and you look at the South African one, it is one position where South Africa don't quite match up with some other countries. They've had a lot of, Henry Honeyball, wonderful player, just one that springs to mind. And there are many others, and obviously, I think 10 years from now, I might be having a very different conversation, because if you've watched the channel for any length of time, I'm seriously excited about Sasha Feinberg and Ngomazulu. But let's temper our expectations there. He feels very Dan Carter, but Dan Carter is and was Dan Carter, and he is there at 10. Habana and Savia, amazing players. Habana gets the nod, obviously. De Villiers and Fourie was a brilliant centre partnership. Maybe the best centre partnership South Africa have ever had, but the best centre partnership that World Rugby has ever produced is Nonu and Conrad Smith. The force and brutality of Nonu, who over his career did get more of those softer skills, and by the end of it he was just a brilliant all-round rugby player. Conrad Smith, just the glue that held that backline together. Just a Rolls Royce of a rugby player that just had about the best rugby brain you could possibly hope for. And yeah, just everything he did was effortless. What a player, what a combination. Obviously Milner Scudder wasn't there for long. Beauden Barrett was on the bench at this point in the career, of course. So Ben Smith was at fullback. Cheslin Colby's in, and I'm going to go for Ben Smith. So, yes, you can see a bit of a picture. The current South Africa team may have, or certainly are contenders to have the best pack maybe we've ever seen. The New Zealand 2015 backline was insane. When you think the players that aren't in there are Aaron Smith, who's probably the second best Southern Hemisphere scrum half of all time behind Fourie du Preez, and Julian Savia, who was a physical freak and was kind of in the Lomu mould. So that backline is insanely good. Bearing in mind you have Beauden Barrett on the bench as well. So I don't know what that tells you. Well, no, I can tell you what that does tell you. The current Springbok team have got an incredible pack, but they are short of being where the 2015 All Blacks were, because just at a glance, even combined with Fury Dupree, Habana, Osdurant, taking them from the 07 vintage. South Africa still have, well, they have eight players, but the New Zealand 2015 team have 7 players in a combined side and a back line. That is from the rugby gods. Maybe that didn't tell us anything other than these two countries have produced some unbelievable rugby players. And maybe it doesn't get us any closer to answering the question, how close are the current Springbok team to true legend status up there with New Zealand of 2015? I think what it does crystallise, however, though, is that they need to win rugby championships. They need to go out there and beat New Zealand on their own patch. And New Zealand also, it crystallises, New Zealand have got so much pedigree and so much pride and so much talent that every time you play them, they deserve the utmost respect. And they're going to be bringing it. 100% they're going to be bringing it in Johannesburg and Cape Town. I'll be there to watch it and bring you all the reaction on the channel. So hit subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, your thoughts down below. And hopefully that's wasted a little bit of time and got us a bit closer to the match actually happening when New Zealand announce their team. I'll be back on the channel with more reaction to that, of course. Till then, see you on the next one.